Hey guys, good morning. It is my turn for Testimony Tuesday. And for those of you that know me, know how much I love to talk. And so, believe it or not, this was actually, I was kind of nervous about doing this, but I knew it's something that the Lord was calling me to do. And so, here I am. So, my name is Erin Beck. I am the Director of Early Childhood Ministries at the Church of Clayton Crossings. And co-leader of Moms and Munchkins group. And so I'm going to kind of do something a little bit different this morning. I actually want to sort of do this backwards from the way most people usually do it. I don't know how much time you have to watch this video. And if I'm being honest, I don't know how long it's going to be because I want to make sure to say the things that I feel the Lord leading me to. But the one thing that's the most important that I want you to hear, I'm going to say first, just in case you only have 3 minutes. When I actually sat down to get my thoughts together to write down my testimony, I was putting in there milestones, things that are really important that have happened in my life. And no matter how great or no matter how hard those things were to write down, I kept seeing a theme. And I don't know where you are in your life right now. I don't know if you believe in Jesus or if you believe in him, but you're not necessarily a follower of Jesus. Or if you've had bad experiences with Jesus people or church people or just church in general. I'm not sure where you are right now. If you're in a great place or a hard place in life, what I want to say is that Jesus kept showing up in every single part of my story, and he was pursuing me every single step of my journey. Every single time I wrote something down, right beside it, I wrote Jesus. There he was. He was in every single piece and part of my story. So I just want to say that to you. I don't know where you are in life, but I want you to know that the Lord is constantly pursuing you. He is constantly after you because he loves you so much. And so it's just funny. I will encourage you to look back over your story as well. And it's just really cool to see how the Lord is always working, even when you don't know it and may not be aware of it. He's there. Every single step of the way, he's there. There's actually a song that came to my mind as I was writing things down, and Dolly Parton actually helps Zach Williams sing There Was Jesus. And if you've never heard that song, I encourage you to look it up because that was just the theme for me this morning. It's like, oh, I went through this stage. It was really hard, but there was Jesus. I went through this stage and it was really beautiful and great. There was Jesus. There he was preparing me every step of the way for where I am right now. And so I just want to say, I don't know what your experience has been with the Lord, but I would absolutely love to either introduce you to him or help you be able to get closer to him if you already have decided to be a follower of Jesus. So that's what I want to start with because that's the most important thing. I don't want you to have to wait however long this video is going to be. I don't want you to have to wait until that to the end if you can only watch for 4 minutes. That's what I want you to hear the most, loud and clear, because that's the most important. So I'll kind of start from the beginning for me. I was actually raised in Clayton, Garner area, which is unlike most of the people that are around these parts now. I was actually raised here, and I was raised in a Christian home. My parents actually separated and divorced when I was pretty young, and so I don't remember them being together, but I had a very involved mom and dad who always wanted to make sure that we were in church, and so we were. I accepted Christ at 9 or 10 years old at Mount Moriah Baptist Church, kind of in between Garner and Clayton. And we were in church every Sunday. It didn't matter who we were with, mom or dad, we were there. And so I developed that habit from a young age, making sure that I was in the Lord's house weekly. And I'm so very thankful for that, because we had very influential people on both sides of our family. So that was really good for us to be able to start out with. But I recognized pretty early on that the Lord gave me eyes to be able to see people who are kind of struggling, maybe, and on the outside of things, people who were looking for their place, or who needed someone to see them. I usually tend to find people who may be overlooked, if you will. The Lord's just given me eyes to be able to see people for the way that He made them. And so maybe they were in the middle of a mess, or maybe outcast, or I'm not sure, but people who are searching for things, those were always the people that I was looking for, not the people who had it all together. People who looked like they had it all together sort of scared me a little bit. I was looking for the other people. I felt like those were my people always. And in that, I see Jesus too, because even from a very young age, he was calling me to lead, and to lead a group where I would constantly be pulling people in who were maybe on the outside. And so, but I didn't see that then. I didn't know that then. And so, even my sister can tell you the Lord made me a bossy kid. I'm sort of a bossy person. I always have been. And so she can be very honest with you about that. The Lord made me like that from day one. And so, even there's Jesus in that too, because as annoying as that probably was to my mom and dad and my sister when I was younger, that's how the Lord built me and made me, was to kind of coordinate things and pull things together, and tell people what to do, I guess. And so that's just the way that He made me. And thankfully, I am trying to use that gift to glorify Him these days, even though I'm sure I did not always do that. So I would say probably at about 16 or 17 years old, for some reason I thought in life that there was something that was going to be greater and cooler than the Lord. And so I just kind of went out searching to fill this space that I had. I just felt like there was a hole and it was empty, and I just needed to fill it. And I'll be honest with you, I thought that other people were going to be able to fill that spot. And so I started hanging around with lots of different people. Like I said, I was very interested in lots of different people. Anybody who lived differently than me, I was interested in them. And so I sort of lost myself in that. And I really thought that I was going to find something that would help fill that hole, I guess, that was in my heart, that now I know is a God-sized hole, and only He can fill that. Because I tried to fill it with relationships, whether it was relationships with guys or friends or jobs, different things like that. I always thought that I could find something that was going to satisfy me the way that the Lord does now. But looking back, I really thought that there was going to be something better. So fast forward to after college, I kind of went way wayward, and I met someone who lived up in the Winston-Salem area here in North Carolina, and I moved up there. And even though all of the signs were there to tell me that it was not a good relationship for me, that it was toxic and it wasn't good, I still thought that I could change things myself. And so I ended up getting married, and there was a lot of things that were involved in that marriage that were, they were just toxic. That's the best word I can say. There was drugs and alcohol, emotional abuse. I actually suffered 2 second trimester losses when I was in that marriage, which were so devastating. And at that point in my life, I was far from the Lord. I knew him, but it's amazing. When I had those losses, I lost a set of twins at 16 weeks. And then I also lost a baby girl at 20 weeks. It's amazing how the Lord just drew me back into him even during that time. Even when I was not faithful in attending church, praying. I just wasn't doing anything to try and be close to Jesus. I still can look back at all of that pain that I went through in that relationship in those circumstances and see the Lord there, because that was definitely a deep, dark time in my life, and the Lord was still there with me. I can look back so vividly, remembering moments when I knew that I still had the hope that I had in the Lord. Even though I wasn't actively pursuing him at all, I was actively pursuing what I thought my life should be, which was so very wrong. But that marriage eventually led to infidelity, and so we parted ways in about 2006, 2005, 2006, and thankfully, right before that happened, I found a job. Actually, a job found me up in the Winston-Salem area because I wasn't around any of my family or friends at that point. All of my family and friends were still here in Garner, Clayton area. And so I found this lady, or this lady found me. Her name was Linda Leonard. And she gave me a chance to work for this amazing company and agency. And she gave me this experience that I needed to be able to do what I'm doing exactly right now. In that job, I became a consultant for teachers, and just was able to help people. I gained all of this knowledge and these skills to be able to do the job that I'm doing right now. And so here's another example of the Lord being there and going before me, even when I was just, as one of my friends says, stuck and stupid. I was still stuck and stupid in that point in my life, but the Lord was still there to be able to have Linda Leonard give me a chance on that job. And I stayed in that job for almost 10 years. And I was in that job when my first marriage collapsed. And it helped me be able to get through, because I met some really amazing people there. And so, the Lord was setting all of that up for me, even though it's amazing when I sat down to write out my story, like Jesus was there every single step of the way and lined me up for right now, for what's happening right now in my life. And so in 2007, I met this dude, and he was pretty cool, but he was almost too cool. Like, I was sort of waiting for a while. Sometimes you kind of just wait for the other shoe to drop. Like, this can't be really who this guy is. He can't really be this awesome. And that is my now husband, David. And I'll just tell you, he really is that awesome. He really is. None of us are perfect, but he's about as close as you can get. And so there again, I just feel like Jesus was there saying, like, here you go. Because when David and I met, both of us had been raised in Christian homes. Neither one of us were actively attending church, but I think we both had that desire. And so we got married in 2010. We were living in a little town called Mocksville, North Carolina then. And we actually decided that we needed to find a church. And so there was a lady that was at his work who invited us to this church. Then it was called Journey Church. And we thought, okay, both of us were Southern Baptists. Let me just say that. We were both Southern Baptists, and so we were used to the choir robes and the hymnals and all that kind of stuff. And so we got all fancied up, and we went to, it's actually called Rescue House now, but it was Journey Church then. And so we went in, and it was way different than any church we'd ever been in. And so we were just kind of amazed at how quickly we felt to be a part of that church. And just during worship, and that was way back in the day when Pastor Matt Hudson, he was the pastor, he actually would play in the band, he would play guitar and then preach. And so we just thought, what in the world is this place? Like, this is just crazy. But it was there that I fully surrendered my life to Christ. They just did church so differently. And it was just all about Jesus. It was all about pointing people to Jesus. And, at that point in my life, I thought, I can do this. This is way more simple than I was thinking, that it should be. But it was at Rescue House Church that I met two very important people in my life. And I rededicated my life in July of 2011 and was baptized again. And I just felt like I was starting to step into my calling then. Julie Miller was there then, and she was over children's ministries there, and Pastor Matt Hudson. And both of them saw something in me that I had not quite seen yet in myself. They saw leadership potential in me and the potential for actually doing ministry. And I have to be honest, at first when they, talked to me about that, I really still was not sure about that. But I wanted to be open-minded to it. And so I was in leadership at Rescue House for a while in the children's ministry. And then we, after we got pregnant with our second child, we decided to move back to the Garner-Clayton area. And that was in about 2013. And we were very sad to leave our church because it was a huge part of our life. My husband David and I, we were so invested there, and still are to this day. Like, that church, it has our heart. It really does. And always will, because of, that was the place that I came back to meet the Lord, and just fully surrendered. And so when we moved back here, in 2015, we kind of visited around churches because it is hard finding a church. I don't know about you guys, but when you move to a place, I know many people who may be watching this, it's hard to find a church. It really is. And so I can't imagine, not necessarily being a church person. It's hard, even if you are a church person, to be able to find a place that fits with yourself, your spouse, your kids, whatever it is. But the first day we walked in the Church of Clayton Crossings in 2015, I knew that was our spot. Immediately I knew. And I very quickly got involved in the preschool ministry because that's where my heart is. And it's always been, preschool has always been where my heart is. And so I took over the Sunday preschool then in 2015 pretty quickly. And then after that, Moms and Munchkins was born. And so, as I was writing all this stuff down, I'll say it again, every single piece and part of my journey, the Lord was there. He really was. And until I sat down and wrote it out, I know that there was specific pieces and parts that the Lord was there, obviously, but even in the smallest and hardest times, He was there, and He was constantly pursuing me and constantly rescuing me from my own stupid self, because I have made so many stupid mistakes, and I'd like to say that I wish I hadn't done that, But that's my story. That was my journey that I was on. But no matter what was going on in my life, the Lord was there. And He was always rescuing me and pulling me out of either bad decisions or just bad circumstances that are happening. So I don't know where you are today. Those of you that are listening to this, I don't know where you are. I don't know what you've been through. I feel like each and every one of us have been through something that's hard. Maybe what's hard is happening right now for you, or maybe it's happened a little bit ago and you're trying to move through it and move past it. I just want to let you know that God can be part of that story. He really can, because each and every one of us were made with a God-sized hole in our heart, and no matter what we have that we try to fill it with, it's never going to be enough. It never will. We'll either try more of that thing or move on to something else. And I felt like that I could find that thing, and I couldn't, because there were many, many years in my life I spent searching for something, and I already had it. I didn't know it, but I just needed to pursue my relationship with Jesus more. And so as soon as I started doing that, that hole that I had was filled. And I'm going to tell you what, that's an amazing feeling. It's a feeling like no other. It really is. There's so much peace in that, and reassurance and hope. If you take a look around what's happening in the world these days, man, it is so overwhelming. It is so overwhelming. And it makes us all want to run and hide. That's what's happened in this last year during this pandemic. It's been so easy to hide because the world is such a scary place right now. But I just want to tell you, there's hope in Jesus. There really is. And it's not anywhere else. It isn't anywhere else that we look. So I would love to introduce you to Jesus or help further your relationship with Jesus. That's what my heart is for. And so if I can help you do that in any way, shape, or form, please let me know. And if you have listened this long for 22 minutes, you get a gold star, because that's a really long time. But I just want to make sure that you heard the most important piece and part at the beginning and at the end. And it's Jesus.